So you guys know that austerity leads to fascism, right? We've seen this again and again since the 2008 financial crisis. The bankers, Wall Street, the City of London, they all say, "Oh no, you gotta cut that budget. Gotta cut that budget. That's the only way to bring the economy back to health." The whole Obama administration was about trying to balance budgets and lessen deficits, and that led to Trump. The probably the British have for 15 years now or have been doing austerity type stuff, and it's led from the conservatives being in charge for a while to like a very weak labor government, and it's now like Nigel Farage might end up prime minister. It's quite absurd. But what's so striking to me is that we already knew this. Like, as human beings, as people who study history, like, this was really, really obvious. We have a really great example. I've been reading a lot about the Great Depression in the 1930s recently, and it's just striking. Like, it taught all these lessons that we've been ignoring. We've been working really hard to ignore because in the Reagan era, since 1980 or so, we've been working really hard to craft an economy that's good for rich people, that's good for Wall Street, that's good for bankers, and we're just ignoring really simple lessons. I'd like to read a passage from Lords of Finance, The Bankers Who Broke the World by Liaquat Ahmed. This was like a bestseller in the years after the financial crisis. And it's just this really simple about what happened during the Great Depression. From 1929, which of course lasted until World War II, but what happened in the early years of the Great Depression? In the United States, the Hoover administration had cut taxes and allowed the budget to go from a surplus of $1 billion in 1929 to a deficit of $2 billion in 1931, 4% of GDP. So definitely not austerity. Britain ran a deficit of $600 million in 1931, 2.5% of GDP. Both of these countries certainly had a rough time during the Great Depression, but their democratic systems survived. By contrast, in Germany, even though revenues fell as activity faltered, expenditures were cut even more, and the deficit was actually reduced from an already modest $200 million to $100 million, less than 1% of GDP. So the German response of the Weimar Republic to the Great Depression was austerity. Between 1929 and 1931, that's what happened. And what happened in 1932, or was it 1933? Adolf Hitler got elected. I think he was sort of chosen as chancellor, like whenever won a majority, but he dramatically improved his vote share and ended up running Germany. Austerity leads to fascism. We've known this, like, since we knew about fascism, but we just ignore this stuff.